Okay, how are you?
He's recording there. I'm getting over here. I saw you drive by the house. I'm like, oh,
One more?
hi.
Okay, we got everybody. We're all good. We got
Yeah.
you sign in? What's your name?
It was a lot harder on me than I thought it was going to be. Yeah. I didn't realize how young.
Oh, well, I read today about one yarn and Costco killed it.
Where can I sit where my head will be?
I think you're fine. So there you go. Oh no.
I realized that last week.
Hey, at least you have hair. I don't. All right. So if I sat there, like it would just the glare would just blind the whole thing.
Hey.
Hey, let's go.
Clean out this.
I'm gonna go on top of the ladder down the right. We're gonna take it down. Large town.
See, I'm trying to see a way to get the mayor in here. So it's like, oh. Mayor in the middle, and I can go with my Marco. I might do a couple different ones. Yeah, sure. Oh, it's perfect. Actually. Does anyone have any glasses to take off?
Very good.
Or they do with the glasses?
Do they glare back?
No, there's no glare. All right, smile, guys. We got a couple non-smilers. There we go. There we go. All right.
Got a couple with Jim in the middle.
We're not going to.
Can I actually have all of you step forward, just a couple steps? That's my check.
Grab our arms or our shoulders up on the
You guys can all hold hands. You know, we're all about friendliness here. All right, guys. Last picture. Quick smile. All right, so you are not committing to the smiles here. Let's go get laughter coming in. Come on. One first, I have to Photoshop out your ticket so we can get this. All right, smile, guys.
You just Photoshop right in his face. I think that'd be good. Oh, that won't be much.
How are you? Good.
Let's do just one more just to make sure I'm good.
Sure.
I'm wanting this photographer out of here. It's really making me angry.
Stand right there.
Awesome, perfect.
Hey, at least it's not before you eat great.
And to do it just a solid line. Yeah. Yeah, one more. We're gonna do just a wrap around.
I would do a move. Hey Nancy, even if you kept them in two rows, if you was every Scott, Dave, and Phil over one step to the right, that would clear.
The left or right?
This later, man.
Go ahead, whatever you want.
Yeah.
Okay. Duck the shoulder then.
Like this. So you're. Yeah, right next to the.
my shoulder, you got
Alright, I like that. Alright, guys. I got some eyes going over here, some eyes going over there. Alright, guys, smile.
So we got 4 hours. Now it's even.
This isn't Toothy smile. There we go.
What kind of smile?
Toothy smile.
It wasn't in the car.
And that's what she said.
I didn't come from here to my feet.
Yeah, cool. Well, I'm looking
Got your hands at your sides. Better, of course.
I think I know. Thank you.
Alright, I'm just gonna do one more and then we'll be good. Alright, this is the last one, so I can go away, you guys can be happy with it. Yeah, oh, alright. Alright, smile, ready? Alright, we're good. There we go.
It's like my face started to shake. My family's like
Oh, that one there, that's pretty cool. Dash. Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, I think I got it.
Doing well? Nice to meet you.
Are you happy, sir?
Executive session is where they have to discuss something like that, and they go in the chambers. But they usually have a very, very end.
Right, right. Yeah, that's
this to me 3 weeks ago. It was outside here.
You got 2 minutes. No worries.
She's very active. Yeah, she actually woke up this morning. Yeah.
Mark will bring you in.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much.
It's not
I'm calling to order the city council meeting February 5th at 6:15. Call the roll, please.
Harris.
Yes.
Kurtz.
Yes.
Blackout.
Yes.
Noonan.
Yes.
Hockenberger.
Yes.
Barrow.
Yes.
Fiskett.
Yes. And we'll stand for the pledge of allegiance, please.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for everybody's patience on the picture thing. It's something that needs to be done every couple of years just for our record. So thank you for everybody on that. Is our candidate ready to be? Yep. Okay. Chief, I'm going to turn it over to you, introduction of the new police officer.
All right, Michael's available.
We can hear.
There's 2 options of plugging it in. Mayor, members of the council, it's my pleasure tonight to introduce you to our newest police officer. Jared Belair comes to us from the Owens Police Academy. He graduated December. He just passed the state test here in January. We'll bring him aboard. I promise we did check his ID as 21. It's exciting for us as well because this is the first time in a few years we've actually got to return this training. So we're going to be there for a short minute, and we have a retirement coming up here in May. So we're slowly getting our retirements, but we will have another one starting academy here soon as well. So we're planning ahead for that. Jared grew up in the Antioch School District. He is one of 11 siblings, so he's learned how to de-escalate crisis management from day one. So we're excited for him to be on board with us. And I don't know if you want to introduce, I believe you have your parents somewhere hiding back here today.
Yes, hello. And then my fiance to the right.
And then you've already got your uniform, we'll get you all badge here as well. But we appreciate the support of council and getting our officers trained up and ready. This just starts his next about 5-6 months of field training, so it's still a long process. That's why we got to plan ahead so long. So thank you, everyone. Anything you want to say?
Just thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to serving the community.
Thank you. Thank you, Jared, and thank you to his family for coming this evening. Appreciate that. Thank you. Yes, sir. Okay, we'll move on to committee of the whole. The agenda is before council, and we'll turn this over to Council President, Mr. Barrow.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. Committee of the whole, we're going to start with citizens' comments. You have 3 minutes to come up and address the council. If you have signed in, you're able to do that. If not signed in before you come here.
The correction on the agenda there, Mr. President. Yeah, this is just for council comments on the agenda, and then we'll move to citizen comments.
Oh, I'm sorry. Committee of the whole.
Yes, sir.
Any questions or concerns on our agenda for the board?
I have a couple. One is for Chief, but in lieu of him not being in here right now. And with our Alan not being in, perhaps our Administrator Dr. Birch, could you comment on new business 10B about the Uptown Historic District modified codified ordinances? Just what the major impact is, what are the significant changes being put forward?
Thank you, Councilman Langbach. The true impact here is that we're trying to make sure that the other ordinances that council has passed over the last 3 years made a historic review of a structure administrative, so that myself and the zoning administrator would make the decision on whether you complied with the ordinance, and if somebody didn't agree with that decision, that the architecture review board, for speed and ease of maneuvering for our residents, that would be an appellate jurisdiction now instead of a primary jurisdiction. We did that throughout here, but Alan, our law director, wanted to make sure that it was clear that the architecture review board was an appellate jurisdiction in the uptown as well.
Okay, thank you.
Another question? Any comment? Sure.
And perhaps Dr. Birch can comment on this, or perhaps even the mayor. It's kind of a little bit of law enforcement. We have an item under 10A to approve funds. Oh, I stalled enough that he came back in. But we're going to have on our agenda authorization to support some construction to improve safety on the south part of Conant between Broadway and the bridge. I was just wondering from the safety director's, our police chief's perspective, if you could just comment what have been the safety concerns that are prompting us to take this action.
Well, I mean, as long as I've been here, that's been area of speed. We sit there quite often in the morning to write citations as well. Traditionally, once they hit Broadway, it's sort of the free-for-all. Even sitting down there during construction, because some of the traffic is aggressive enough when they're doing it, that we'd sit down there, help sort of slow traffic down. Over the last 4 days, I put the speed trailer out there, you might have seen it out there, to record the speeds. 15% of the cars going through there are above 43 mile an hour, and that's 35. However, what I will say, that where it's located, it's actually getting a lot of them before they get to the 35. So it's 25 coming down the hill, and it turns at 35, sort of midway down there. We're seeing out of the cars is roughly, I want to say, 11,000 cars on average it clocked. I think that was per day. And understand it's only going to pick up the strongest, fastest signal. So if there's 2 cars coming down side by side, the radar is only going to grab the strongest signal, which is going to be the largest vehicle going fastest. So the traffic count isn't necessarily exact on the 2, just to understand that where it breaks out. But out of that, you're talking 7,268 of them were doing over the posted speed limit. And the highest ones through there were 55 mile an hour ones.
Wow.
So, granted, that wasn't the majority, but that was the highest ones going through there. So, also I'd say last year on the bridge, we did have a fatal crash on the bridge. Speeds are always somewhat of a factor when you're dealing with that. There's also some medical issues going on as well, but obviously the faster the cars are going, when they collide, anything over 35, you're much higher likelihood of having fatal outcome like that. It's been some time, we have had a pedestrian struck down by the bridge, but that was long before any of the construction uptown, and that was during one of the more busy events. It might even been on July 3rd, I can't remember, but I know we've had some crashes down there, but most of it is just aggressive speed that could ultimately, depending on the conditions and stuff, more crashes.
Okay, so it sounds pretty serious, and the changes that are being proposed are physical changes, really kind of force people to slow down.
And I can say too, because like I said, I was down there a lot during the construction, and just where the island is currently in, where they're sort of kept in one lane till they get down there, those speeds have now been reduced, and of course, where does it pick up again is where it bifurcates into 2. So definitely the island up top, slowing cars down from what I've witnessed. I've not put a speed trailer up there to get any before and after results. And then the speed trailer will be out there for the rest of the week, because when we put it out on Friday, it's going to be weekend numbers. I think it's going to be worse during the week because you've got more commuters.
All right, thank you, Chief.
If it's possible, Councilman Langbach, if Josh, you could expand on the idea of the speed trailer itself, how it affects people's behavior simply being there.
So the whole idea of putting it out there is to slow cars down. So ideally, if you were just running radar out there without the digital feedback right away, because you'll see it, you'll see the cars come through there, they're high speed, you watch them slow down. As I sat down there during this just to make sure it's actually reading and working. So some of our mobile speed signs that we have that we just got the new cell cards updated and all, traditionally what we do with those, we do a ghost week. So it sits there for a week and just gathers data, gives no feedback. And then it turns on and it shows you that they actually do what they're supposed to. That once people are getting that visual reminder that they're speeding, they start slowing down. So we'll do a week to where it just gathers the speeds, and then the next week it will advise if they're going too fast what their speed is, and we do some reduction in speed. So, like what Dr. Birch is saying in this case, this would be your best case scenario because people are slowing down automatically because they're seeing the trailer there, and they're still, like I said, the 15% of the cars are doing 43 or higher, and some of them, like I said, were 55. I don't think we hit 60 on this one, but I know I've personally written tickets down there at 60. And just parked on the side of the road, they drive right, I'm not hiding, I'm just sitting there, and they fly right by you, and then of course you're stopping down Rapid Road, and
Oh, plus the when the weather becomes nicer and warmer, the speeds are gonna increase.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. And then motorcycles and everything else that come out.
And we have a pedestrian crossway in there.
So thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on that too as well, if that's all right.
Sure.
I've seen a significant decrease in speed since that island's been put in. I walk that path a lot, go down Broadway, walk along Conant to the towpath. And I've been using the pedestrian crossing a lot, and they drive considerably slower where the island is. It used to be they would take off, come around the corner, or once they got to Broadway, take off to go to the bridge. Now they delay that until the end of the island. So the extension of that, I think, would be really nice to keep the speed down all the way to the towpath, especially since there are no street trees in between or bollards or anything like that. You feel really exposed, especially to those high speeds.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Carter? Yes, sir. Go ahead.
The mayor asked me to kind of go into what the actual island is and does. It's actually, the current island is about 100 feet. It's 6 feet wide. But remember, when you get past that island, the lanes get to 14 and a half feet wide, which is 2.5 feet per lane wider than 475. So it's not a wonder cars travel so fast. So this island will start narrow, it'll direct traffic, and then it gets to about 12 feet wide, and there will be trees, redbud trees that are lit with white light, just like the island will be when our power is on. And the idea, and it goes 364 feet, it will stop before the turnoff, our trucks got onto the towpath. And the idea is so that traffic flow feels like it can't go like it does in the current island, so it doesn't want to go that fast until it gets out of there by the arch down by the river, down by the bridge. And then you can start seeing the curve that's on the bridge, so you slow down enough until you see the curve. So you're gonna have landscaping in this island, it's gonna be trees and ryegrass, or not ryegrass, but fountain grass and so on. So it's easy to maintain, you'll have lights, it's lit bollards at the end of each island, so people will see that as well. So it'll almost to the arch.
Thank you. Are there any more questions?
I'll defer to
That's good.
A question that on the island, and if I'm out of order, Mayor, let me know, I'm a new guy. On the appointments for the citizen commissions and boards and so forth, I would like to, unless I'm out of order, nominate Dave Koppelmeyer to the ADA Advisory Board. Dave, as you know, is a physical therapist. I don't believe he's disabled, and so he doesn't qualify as one of the three disabled members of that commission. However, he would be a good representative of the medical / healthcare community. And I realize you nominated 3 persons, and if there is room for one more, I think Dave would be a good candidate.
We'll let Mayor McDowell respond to that.
Sure. So we actually, I know you had a medical situation at the beginning of the year, but we kind of threw that out at the beginning of the year to nominate potential candidates for this to council. I think I put it in writing as well as the meeting. And so we needed 5 members to that board. And although Mr. Poppelmeyer would be a good candidate, I agree with you. We're all set as far as the 5-member board being nominated for tonight. So there'll be actually one that was a renewal. So if somebody typically has a position, we ask them first for that particular position. They didn't. One did not reply at all with our inquiries, and one did. And then we actually filled the one vacancy, and then another person is completing Mr. Noonan's term. So for this year, we're all set with the board. And in years to come, I think that would be a great suggestion for Mr. Poppelmeyer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is the council president?
Yep.
I have a comment on the proposed resolution 002-2024, a resolution supporting and promoting equal pay. I think the principle being advocated by this resolution is not equal pay for all workers, which at times it sounds like, but rather equal pay for equal work. This principle, equal pay for equal work, is accepted and practiced by an overwhelming majority of employers. The city of Maumee, in fact, is one such employer who follows the law and pays individuals for the same position, the same wage or salary. There's no discrimination. I have two basic reasons for opposing this resolution. Not the principle, but this resolution. The first reason, what is the problem? Are women en masse being paid less for the same work? The statistic cited to support that belief is a flawed statistic. You can ask any trained statistician. It compares the average income for all full-time male and female employees without recognizing the multitude of factors that contribute to the complexity of the job market. What about the type of job? Should lawyers and factory workers expect to have different incomes? What about experience level? Should someone with 1 year of experience in a job make the same as someone with 15 years experience in the same job? What about educational attainment? Might someone with a master's degree command higher income than someone with a high school diploma? Comparisons must be made within groups that exhibit similar factors. When doing so, other studies certainly show that there is no significant difference in the pay when controlling for all of those variables. So actually, there is no problem with equal pay for equal work. It's happening. I believe anyone who votes for this resolution will be accepting at least one of the whereases as a pertinent fact when it is not. This resolution will decry an injustice is being committed when, in fact, there is no injustice being committed. Doing so will create its own harm by encouraging people to think there is a problem when there is not. It would be far better to be confident of the facts before deciding a real problem exists. Now, my second reason for opposing the resolutions like this in general, it's been the practice of City Council to refrain from making resolutions that have no practical effect and that lack a true moral imperative. This resolution expresses a sentiment or makes a statement that will make some people feel good about themselves by having made the statement. This has been happening all over the country for years. Now, there are two types of statements that people and organizations can make to communicate their virtue, what they believe is just and right. To quote Larry Arnn, president of Hillsdale College, quote, "There's a kind of virtue, or a statement, that is cheap. It consists of jumping on cost-free bandwagons of public feeling, perhaps even deeply justified public feeling, and then winning approval by espousing the right opinion." That's one type of statement. The other type of statement are facts. Sorry, not facts. Our statements are acts. They're deeds that speak, undertaken and perpetuated now, every day, all the time. I'm proud to say that our city makes this kind of statement for its employees every day, all the time. There's no discrimination. It makes a concrete statement of what we believe. This is the kind of statement we should focus our efforts on making, not the resolution of the day that happens to coincide with some particular date. Thank you, Council President.
You're welcome, thank you. And Councilmember Mark Puckenberg.
Yes, thank you. So I would like to direct you to a Forbes article that compares a multitude of different professions and talks about the very large gap between what women and men are paid. And it's not a matter of someone straight out of school that's a woman and a man that has 20 years experience and a different set of education. They compare apples to apples. It's a certain amount of years experience, a certain amount of education. There are consistent factors used to get these numbers. Women in Toledo has an event every year that talks about this. They throw out all the figures. It's a global issue. They estimate it's going to take 257 years to close the gap between genders globally. On average, women receive 20% less than men in Social Security benefits. And, you know, I think it's great that Mommy is saying this to acknowledge what they already do and making sure that women are paid equally for, you know, their amount of experience, their education, and so forth. But I believe that leaders, and especially a government, has, they need to stand up and speak out against something that is happening not only in this country but globally. Because if you don't see something and say something, people aren't going to recognize it's a problem, and it is. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? I'd like to weigh in on this as well. I like this for the reasoning that a lot of the particulars that are very clarified. At first glance, it's why, well, everybody doesn't have the same education or background, especially in a particular arena that they're going to be working for or in. And I like this very clearly details that. You know, it talks a lot about pay discrimination for you know, race, color, religion, sex, age, national origin, ancestry, gender. But it also speaks to, and I think Councilman Lineback pointed that out, that Councilmember Bullenberger, that there's an order to all of this, your seniority, your experience, your educational level. And I think it, you know, in this day and age, things, I don't think it can be over-clarified, and that's why I'm supporting it. Thank you. Are there any more questions about the Councilman Lineback?
Just in response, it's curious, I also read a Forbes study that said when controlling for all the types of factors that we've just mentioned, women were at 99% of the male side, which is statistically insignificant. It's the range of error. And the other part being just that it's the law. Things that are in this resolution is already the law. Why we need to make a resolution to support the law just seems inappropriate. I think there are more important moral imperatives if we wanted to make a moral statement, and perhaps teen suicide, opioid drug addiction, you know, might be more important moral imperatives if you ask me. But I just don't see the facts supporting this as a group problem.
Thank you. At this point, this concludes the committee of the whole.
I have one comment.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
A couple of whereases kind of stick in my mind, and another figure too, the female population is about 52% of our country, which is actually a majority. And one of the fastest growing demographics is households with children that are headed by females. And I think it's important as a legislative body that we do give our expression of support. That's what a resolution is. It's not an ordinance, it's not a law. It's basically just expressing our support, and it's really an awareness tool. It's not about something that's broken or something that is a problem or is not a problem, but it's just basically giving an awareness statement about something that you feel is important. Yes, it is already the law, but as a legislative body, I think it's important that you give an impact statement about what you think is important about the law.
Mr. Mayor, I think it's important not just equal pay, but all matters that fall within the realm of what I would call the social justice aspect, which equal pay is one. Certainly teen suicide and opioid addiction, and there's a whole big list of stuff that would fall within that. But as you said, it's not a law that requires us to do anything. It's just an expression of support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And if this subject matter is closed, this concludes the committee of the whole. Thank you. We'll move into citizen comments. There's 3 minutes for each person to speak.
I'll go ahead and get that.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. All right, number 5 is citizens' comments. Thank you, President, for committee of the whole. So number 5 is citizens' comments. Anybody in the audience that wishes to make a statement, 3 minutes at the podium, just state your name and address, please.
I'm Jackie Miller. I live at 70 Mallard Run in Maureen. been discriminated against as a female, also as a woman. I appreciate, I applaud the city of Maumee for bringing this resolution up for a vote today. I support the efforts to eliminate pay discrimination on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, age, national origin, ancestry, or gender. I support the recognition of the Equal Pay Day, which is a symbolic day that's used to raise awareness around and combat the impact of pay inequalities. Equal Pay Day is recognized on a Tuesday to illustrate how far behind the previous work week women must work to have earned the same amount of pay as men during that time. I support the mission to eradicate discrimination and pay discrimination in the workplace. I support all the efforts to eradicate pay discrimination. And finally, I support promotion and pay transparency in employment. I thank the council, mayor, city manager for bringing this information and this resolution to be voted on tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, my name is Mark Krebs. My address is 5730 Waterside Court, Waterville. I'm here to express a concern and look for some possible solution. I represent the Society of St. Vincent de Paul, which is this charitable arm of St. Joseph's. Our mission and goal is to assist those in need within our parish boundaries, include Waterville, White House, and the majority of Maumee. I've recently encountered some concerns with utility billing that do not seem just in my eye, nor feasible for those who are in most need of help. If there is a committee that I can take my concerns to, or a particular councilman, I don't care to give out the addresses involved, but I will if that's appropriate, or I can state what the concerns are. It would probably take me about a minute and a half to state if you'd rather hear that.
Why don't you see our administrator, Mr. Birch, after the meeting right here. He can address your concerns. He'll give you his card.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Tracy Elmore, 1038 Ogonuts. I listened attentively with Mr. Kurt's question about how members of the boards are picked, and I want to give you my experience. In 2020, I was asked to sit on the Maumee, Monclova, Toledo Jeds by then Mayor Richard Carr. I accepted the challenge and served as a city representative for the next 2 years. This is an unpaid position requiring extra time, but I was extremely honored to serve alongside Mr. Birch in ensuring and securing the success of Maumee and the Jeds. Mayor Carr acknowledged and appreciated my desire to serve my city in whatever capacity that was. So, in 2022, I was reappointed to the board in the capacity of citizen representative, and I continued working alongside Mr. Birch and Mr. Harris for the next 2 years in his volunteer capacity. I reached out to Mayor McDonald on January 2nd via text regarding attending the January Jeds meeting, and I expressed my willingness to continue serving an additional 2 years if he so wished. His vague response was that council hadn't gotten around to board appointments yet. I was unable to attend the Jeds meeting on January 18th due to a conflict, but when I received my copy of the meeting notes 10 days later, I was surprised to read about the proposed change of Maumee representation going forward. Mr. Birch had informed the board on the 18th that Maumee would be offering up two new names to council to replace Mr. Harris and myself as the representatives, those being our law director and our former mayor. It's obvious that this discussion had been going on for some time between the mayor, the city administrator, and the law director prior to that meeting, but Mr. Harris was prepared for the statement that it would be his last meeting. I agree that these choices, these men, are great choices, and I wholeheartedly agree with this new direction in leadership. However, I find it absolutely unbelievable that no one, not one person in the past 3 weeks, and even to this very minute, has reached out to me and let me know I will not be continuing this role. I have done nothing but serve and support the city, its leadership, and its mission over the past 6.5 years. But apparently I don't merit enough respect or common courtesy for a call, a text, a form letter, or even a sterile email from anyone. While I would never want or expect public recognition for my service, I don't believe a word from either Mr. Birch or Mayor McDonald was just too much to expect. This complete lack thereof leads me to believe that I've either been simply overlooked or purposely avoided, both of which don't reflect well on any of you. Explanations and excuses after this point are only words, so don't bother, as they can't be received as genuine. Do I share this for sour grapes? Absolutely not. It's just a reminder in common decency. Maya Angelou once said, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
And here's your book.
Go ahead.
About 513 Gibbs. I want to support the extension of the island around there as you spoke to. And I have one other thing to say about that. The lane coming from Maumee going over the bridge is one lane, so it's easy to cross. On the other side, on the east side, there are 2 lanes, and I think the extension will help as we're crossing east. The first lane often stops swimming, and so there's a line, but the people that are coming in the outside lane can't see. So I'm concerned, not for myself, I'm careful, but for kids who are crossing, those 2 lanes are dangerous. Maybe we can do something to slow down those on the outside lane, far east lane. Does that make sense? The 2 lanes coming toward Maumee.
Part of the island is just that.
Exactly. So if it's longer, I guess everybody will slow down.
Other than that, up for the mayor.
That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Carolyn Cornell from 26 East Place. I want to just go back real quickly to the earlier resolution that was introduced for equal pay. I truly, heartily endorse it. I hope all of you do as well. It's indeed one thing to say it's the law, and it is the law. It's another thing to say that it is practiced. I've been in my career for 40 years and have experienced a tremendous amount of pay discrimination. And it goes on every day. Every day. So it's wonderful to say that yes, it's the law and it's a theory. It's not a theory, it's in practice. But in reality, it does happen to many of us every single day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bill Cox, 937 Gibb Street. I recently had an occasion to visit our police department up here, and he let me out, that was nice. Appreciate that. When I entered the police department, I noticed there was an empty office, dark, phone number on the wall to call for assistance. I don't know about you, but when I go somewhere and it says I have to call for assistance, the first thing, 2 things that come to my mind are, is the person that answers the phone in the continental United States, and will they understand what I'm trying to get done? I called the number, I told them who I was, and that I was standing in the lobby of the police station. They asked me where I was. After I explained to them what I was looking for, they said that they would see if there was an officer in the building. If there was, he would come out to assist me. If not, they would have someone else call somebody in from the road. We are trying to create a walkable, user-friendly community here, and walking into the police station to a dark, empty office is not a user-friendly environment. And I'm sure that our officers, who are doing an excellent job, appreciate the assistance of having someone to kind of sort things out before it gets that far. I think it would be great. And I did have an officer come in who took care of everything, explained everything real well, took care of it very well. Also, I would like to say that our construction that we're doing uptown and around the city is really going well. I've heard some good outside comments from people not living here, but we are also generating a lot of information along with that construction work that's being going on. That is things that are found underground and utilities are being moved and relocated. Along with that work, I'm sure some of you are familiar with what we call red line drawings. These drawings are what the contractors are using when they find things or have to modify things out in the field, and they mark them up with red ink, and those are turned into the construction manager who forwards them to who's ever keeping the drawings to make sure that our drawings are updated to reflect those changes. I have to think that that's not being really well done in the past because they had a water line in front of my house, which, on the drawings that they had, showed was still in the middle of the street, which was moved the last time Gibb Street was updated, which was many years ago. And I happened to see those drawings in the construction trailer when it was done several years ago, marked up with the red line, so they should have been forwarded, to the construction people who are taking care of those. So, and we should be doing some research on the old drawings that are around the city to make sure that that information is being put in with the new drawings, to make sure those are updated. So it'd be nice to have somebody in the city council to take a look into that, see how that's going, and make sure it's done. Lastly, I noticed that we are updating our refuse collection and, making sure that people who are supposed to have refuse collection are getting it, and those that are not, aren't. And I just, if those numbers are just being audited and that's just being taken care of, I gotta wonder what we did that contract on to start with. I would have thought that those numbers would have already been there. And also that I must be on the non-trash list because it's been 5 weeks.
Thank you, Tracy, for what you've done in the past. You have served very honorably and well, and we do appreciate all that you have done. Mr. Birch, would you mind answering any of the other comments? You got?
I guess I can start with Bill. What?
Bills, yeah.
Yeah. The trash bill, if you contact, Gina up here or myself, we can make sure to contact Republic. You don't have to wait 5 weeks. If we knew about it right away, we
I call them every week.
Us, call me, or Gina. Also, the reason we don't have a reception in the police division is because we just don't have the staff or the money to have somebody sitting in the receptions in the police division. Also, researching the drawings, I understand that, Bill. I know what as-built are in terms of all of our drawings, but remember we have about 215 miles of pipe that we own underneath our roads and about 75 miles of road. Trying to keep up, trying to start now and to make appropriate drawings is pretty difficult when you don't have the staff to do that either. Those are GIS generated mapping, and they have to be qualified to be able to locate the drawings. We have to dig them up to locate them if we don't do it during construction, which is what you saw. I'm aware that we were about 9 feet off on a water line on Cass Street, because that's the drawings we had, it was the best data we had at the time. There was also a subsidiary line, not just the main line that was also hit. So all those are great aspirations. I just don't, the issue is we just don't have the staff, public staff, to do everything that we think needs to be done in our community. I mean, you've got literally about $800 million in infrastructure in this community, and there's nowhere near the staff or money to make everything right. So we do the best we can, and we'll continue to do that. And my staff work very hard to make sure that happens. Oh yeah, the lanes. I think Mary asked about the lanes. Part of the island is because I did explain during my comments is that the lanes are 14.5 feet wide once you get down toward the bridge. We have what they call a shy area. Normally, the shy area on a public road is the gutter pan, that which covers where water is transferred longitudinally to the catch basins. On the south side, coming toward Maumee in the 2 lanes, we have to artificially stripe those lanes narrower without having to move curves, so that people feel that there's a shy area or gutter pan that they have to avoid. So that has some impact, but striping alone doesn't have the impact. The vertical element the island provides will make a much better space to encourage people, much the same as a speed trailer sitting there that people pay attention to. It's an obstacle that a motorist might feel unsafe by having the chance of hitting, so they slow down. The reason they don't slow down around pedestrians because pedestrians are made of human tissue, and they tend to give way when hit by a 13,000-pound hump of metal. Light poles and trees are quite that susceptible to damage or fatal damage. So that's why we're actually restriking that section as well. Council approved this tonight. The shy area will be painted from the end of the other island to the bridge and narrowing those lanes, possibly even narrowing a striping lane that's 4 or 5 feet wide, starting going across into the bridge, so people start going in a measured lane that's more like a 12-foot lane as opposed to a 14.5-foot lane. And on the expressway, people travel fast because there are no obstacles to make them feel unsafe doing so.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to the adoption agenda. Need a motion to approve the agenda as submitted. Mr. Barrow?
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. I move to approve the agenda as submitted.
Ms. Schoenbach?
Second that motion.
Thank you. We'll call the roll, please.
Harris,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Lineback,
Yes.
Noonan,
Yes.
Hoffenberger,
Yes.
Barrow,
Yes.
Fiskus.
Yes.
Number 7, approval of the meeting minutes. A motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of January 16th, 2024. Mr. Harris?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor McDonald. I move to approve regular meeting minutes of January 16th, 2024.
Thank you. Mr. Newman?
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. I will second that motion.
Okay, we'll call the roll.
Harris,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Lineback,
Yes.
Noonan,
Yes.
Hoffenberger,
Yes.
Barrow,
Yes.
Fiskus.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. There are no petitions and communications. Number 9 is the consent calendar. First, we'll have a motion and a second to approve all the consent calendar items, and we'll go through these. Yes, Mr. Fiskus?
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. I move to approve all consent calendar items.
Thank you. Second, Mr. Kirk?
I'll second that, motion.
Okay, A is a recommendation from me. I've already made a comment about this. Confirming the mayor's appointments and reappointments of individuals to various boards and commissions. This has been an ongoing process the last, well, most of the month actually, trying to get a hold of individuals. We also had our municipal clerk that was very ill for a couple of weeks, but she handles that. She's much better. Glad to have you back, Casey. So we're getting to that this evening for council's approval. Those are before you. And B is a recommendation from the city administrator, Mr. Birch.
Yeah, this is a liquor permit for Parkway Catering, which is simply a switching of an LLC. It has to be transferred to new LLC.
Okay, and C, recommendation from the law director. Can you explain that?
I sure can. These are what they call community entertainment districts. As you know, many of you probably know that a lot of people sell D5 licenses, liquor permits, as a commodity. The going rate right now is between $40,000 and $50,000 to buy a permit, transfer it to a use you want. And if you're doing a restaurant, that's a pretty hefty expense. It's not just a bar. What these community entertainment districts, we have one. It's about a 400-acre district at Fallen Timbers, and there will be a number of these coming before the council. We set one up at Arrowhead and also at Uptown. That's what they refer to as the CED. And what it actually does is allow for every 75-acre CED, it allows 15 additional D licenses, but they're D5J licenses, which require you to have a food service permit along with it. So essentially, it's a way for a restaurant to get a permit to sell liquor and alcohol and spirits during the process, but they do not own the liquor permit. They simply buy it for roughly $2,300 from the state after they go through the background checks and so on. And it allows for us to locate more restaurants in those areas, in areas that are, and also areas where people, and we don't really restrict the amount of food you have to sell. Michigan has a license that restricts you to 51%. The Ohio law does not provide for that. But that's what these entertainment districts are, and you should have probably another several of them coming before the council in the next several months.
Okay, thank you. And D, recommendation from the law director on the fencing contract, contracting LLC, on the reconstruction of sanitary sewer improvements to King Third.
Yeah, this is a authorized contract with fencing contracting, which is, if you remember right, we did this job last year and received no bids. pretty complicated jobs, about 412 feet of replacing the sanitary sewer at Kingsbury and Broadway. As you know, remember, we had this discussion with Matt Miles about some of the things that we discovered when we cameraed. We were going down a sewer with brick, and all of a sudden it ended up in a very arched brick, kind of like a catacomb. We thought it was part of the system that was assimilated into the storm and sanitary system by lifting boats out of the lower Erie Canal. It looks like it had been enclosed, and we're going to try to go through that and re-tap people into the sanitary, which allows us to get rid of sanitary sewer regulator 303 at the end of Kingsbury, which is the second of 6 regulators that we have to eliminate as part of our SSES program with the EPA. That's good news.
Thank you. Just a comment about the CEDs, the Community Entertainment District. It just makes the property more viable. It doesn't mean a certain thing's going to go in there, but it does give the city a lot more flexibility and creativity to attract businesses to a certain area. So it makes sense that you can give that type of a label to an area. It just gives us another option to be able to incentivize some sort of development in that area. So thank you for that. All right, any other discussion from council on these? Okay, call the roll, please.
Harris.
Yes.
Hurt.
Yes.
Lineback.
Yes.
Noonan.
Yes.
Huffenberger.
Yes.
Barrow.
Yes.
Fiskus.
Yes.
Thank you. Under new business A, recommendation from the city administrator to authorize the extension of Kona Street Landscape Island approximately 364 feet to the south in the amount of $184,979. We discussed this in the committee of the whole pretty extensively. And we need 2 motions for this, please. One to waive the 3 readings and another to approve the ordinance. There's no ordinance? Oh, okay.
It's just an approval.
Oh, it's just an approval. I got you, yes. Okay, so a motion to approve on 10A. Yes, Ms. Butler.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve 10A to authorize extension of the Coleman Street Landscape Island.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. I will second that motion.
Okay, call the roll.
Harris.
Yes.
Hurt.
Yes.
Lineback.
Yes.
Noonan.
Yes.
Huffenberger.
Yes.
Barrow.
Yes.
Fiskus.
Yes.
And on 10B, we have a recommendation from the law director as well, approving ordinance 004-2024, adopting chapter 1336 Uptown Maumee Historical District of the Maumee Codified Ordinances. And this one, we will need 2 motions, one to waive the 3 readings and a second to approve. Mr. Harris, yes.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. I will move first to waive the 3 readings.
Thank you. Mr. Noonan?
Thank you, Mayor McDonald, and I will second that motion.
Call the roll.
Harris.
Yes.
Hurt.
No.
Lineback.
Yes.
Noonan.
Yes.
Huffenberger.
Yes.
Barrow.
Yes.
Fiskus.
And I will also move to approve ordinance 004-2024, adopting chapter 1336 Uptown Maumee Historic District of the Maumee Codified Ordinances.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald, also second that motion.
Can you call the roll?
Harris.
Yes.
Hurt.
Yes.
Lineback.
Yes.
Noonan.
Yes.
Huffenberger.
Yes.
Barrow.
Yes.
Fiskus.
Yes.
And on 10C, recommendation from the law director as well, approving resolution 002-2024, supporting and promoting equal pay. 2 motions on this too, Ms. Falkenberger.
Yes, thank you, Mayor McDonald. I'd like to make a motion to waive the 3 readings.
Mr. Fiskus,
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. I will second that motion.
call the roll.
Harris.
Yes.
Hurt.
Yes.
Lineback.
No.
Noonan.
Yes.
Huffenberger.
Yes.
Barrow.
Yes.
Fiskus.
Yes.
Continue. Ms. Falkenberger.
Yes, sorry about that. I'd also like to make a motion to approve resolution 002-2024, supporting and promoting equal pay.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. I will second that motion.
Call the roll.
Harris.
Yes.
Hurt.
Yes.
Lineback.
No.
Noonan.
Yes.
Huffenberger.
Yes.
Barrow.
Yes.
Fiskus.
Yes.
10D, recommendation from the law director as well, approving resolution 003-2024, a resolution adopting a statement pursuant to the Ohio Revised Code 709-023 indicating that services will be provided to the area proposed to be annexed to the city of Maumee by petition for annexation filed with the Board of Lucas County Commissioners by Isaac Land Investment totaling 29.94 acres of land and declaring an emergency. We need two motions on this as well. Yes, Mr. Lambach?
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. I'll make a motion to suspend the rules and declare an emergency.
Mr. Barrow?
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. I will second that motion.
Call the roll.
Harris.
Yes.
Kurt.
Yes.
Lineback.
Yes.
Noonan.
Yes.
Pufferberger.
Yes.
Barrow.
Yes.
Fiskus.
Yes.
And approval?
I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 003-2024. A resolution adopting a statement pursuant to the Ohio Revised Code 709.023, indicating what services will be provided to the area proposed to be annexed to the city of Maumee by petition for annexation filed with the Board of Lucas County Commissioners by Isaac Land Investments, totaling 29.94 acres of land.
I will second that motion.
Call the roll.
Yes.
Fiskus.
Yes.
And on 10E, recommendation from the law director as well, approval of resolution 004-2024, a resolution consenting to the annexation of the area proposed to be annexed to the city of Maumee, set forth in a petition for annexation filed with the Board of Lucas County Commissioners by Isaac Land Investments, containing 29.94 acres of land and declaring an emergency. Mr. Birch, could you explain briefly where this is?
Yeah, this is a parcel that, on Black Road, many aren't aware that when you get across the tracks of Fallen Timbers all the way to Black Road, that is in the city. But there's a 29-acre parcel that corners up against the path, the intermodal pathway that goes out to oak openings. The Black Road is cornered by a small piece of land, 29 acres. It's actually just on the edge of town, and it's part of a originally approved plat for 194 houses out there. The developer, we have contributed toward putting water and sewer that's under construction now to go underneath the tracks to serve this development. That's part of the city, but this is a parcel that was agreed to by the city and Monclova Township when we did the original annexation of it. Coincidentally, a 29-acre parcel on Jerome Road as well. So.
Okay, so if you were picturing where the mall is, it's that field to the west with the set of woods in the middle of it. It would be basically that northwest corner. Okay, we're gonna need two motions for this resolution, please. Mr. Kurt?
Yes, I would, move we, suspend the rules and declare an emergency on this matter.
Thank you. Ms. Altman?
Yes, thank you, Mayor McDonald. I will second that motion.
Call the roll.
Harris.
Yes.
Kurt.
Yes.
Lineback.
Yes.
Noonan.
Yes.
Pufferberger.
Yes.
Barrow.
Yes.
Fiskus.
Yes.
Continue with approval, sir.
Oh, excuse me. Thank you, Bill. I would move that we approve resolution 004-2024, resolution consenting to the annexation of the area proposed to be annexed to the city of Maumee as set forth in the petition for annexation filed with the Lucas County Commission, the Board of Lucas County Commissioners by Isaac Land Investments Limited, containing 29.94 acres of land.
And I will second that motion.
Call the roll, please.
Harris.
Yes.
Kurt.
Yes.
Lineback.
Yes.
Noonan.
Yes.
Pufferberger.
Yes.
Barrow.
Yes.
Fiskus.
Yes.
And 10F is a recommendation from the Finance Director approving ordinance 005-2024, CRA handbook update. Ms. Harkey, any comments on that?
Sure, this is just in response to the state changing the CRA rules, so we're updating our handbook to comply with the new state laws.
Thank you.
Clarify, because it's tax abatement essentially.
Yeah, so CRA is Community Reinvestment Area. It's an economic development tool where property taxes would be waived.
Okay, thank you. So we need to approve motions for this, Mr. Noonan.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. First, I would like to make a motion to waive the 3 readings.
Mr. Harris?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor McDonald. I'll second that motion.
Call the roll.
Harris.
Yes.
Kurt.
Yes.
Lineback.
Yes.
Noonan,
Yes.
Pufferberger,
Yes.
Barrow,
Yes.
Fiskus.
Yes.
And then I would also like to make a motion to approve ordinance 005/2024, CRA handbook update.
I will second that motion. Call roll.
Harris,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes.
Lineback,
Yes.
Noonan,
Yes.
Pufferberger,
Yes.
Barrow,
Yes.
Fiskus.
Yes.
Next we'll move to council comment, Mr. Harris.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. I'm just going to say congratulations again to our newest officer, Derek Laramie. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kirk?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Once again, I'd like to express my gratitude to the mayor and the council and Mr. Birch for your patience in waiting for me to get here. I've had a long struggle the last 6 or 7 weeks, and I'm happy to be home, and I'm really happy to be here. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Mr. Linebaugh?
We're happy you're here too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Noonan?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Pufferberger?
Thank you. I would just like to say thank you, as a woman and a mother with a daughter, for speaking up and recognizing, an issue between, pay equity. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Barrow?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to welcome Councilmember Burke. Welcome. Very happy to have you on board.
Thank you, Mr. President.
And also, there's a lot that goes on in the city that a lot of people don't know about. I had no idea about how cities work. But we have just a top flight people in key places. We have a top flight law director, finance director, administrator. There's 7 council members that live and breathe in this city of Maumee for a long time, decades. I might be the newest one here, 30 years or so in the city. And so, and it takes weeks and weeks and months to come up with what we're doing and how we're doing it. So we put a lot of confidence in the professionals that we have formally hired, and we're seeing great strides by everybody. And Gina and Nancy, everybody's helping. It's a big team effort, and now we're able to get the news out there and the stories out there, and we're appreciative of everybody here. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Fiskus?
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. I wanted to, I went to an open house down the street at Ink and Iron, not Ink and Iron, sorry, Amity Ink. And they were welcoming their new piercer. I'm not into piercings or anything, but she told me a story that years and years ago when she got started, she had a dream of opening her own shop here. She is partnering in the space with the tattoo artist, but she said it was a full circle moment for her, finally making it back to Maumee where she wanted to be. So we're glad to see uptown business thriving, and wish them well. I wanted to commend the Mirror for their articles on kindness. They did a story on 19 individuals who were nominated for acts of kindness, and it was a great positive message to see all the good things people are doing in our city. I want to commend Nancy. She came and hit the ground running. We've got a city newsletter. It's great. We're really trying to get information out there for people to see. And then also next week we have a Parks and Rec meeting. Mr. Kirk is now on that committee, so we're going to try to get him up to speed with all the big things happening in our parks. And that is next Thursday, the 15th. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to piggyback a little bit on a comment Mr. Fiskus made. So during the State of the City address, I talked about the new edition of our PIO, and there'd be some new initiatives coming out in the coming months. Well, we kind of hit the ground running this year, and we're proud to announce that we are going to be putting out a monthly electronic newsletter. It hit today on our website, and it looks fabulous. A very nice job with the content and the delivery of it on the website. And if you go all the way down to the bottom of the page, you can actually subscribe to it, and it can get sent to your home email address. So a great initiative that was accomplished today. That'll be coming out every month. And we're also going to send out a printed newsletter quarterly. Every 3 months, we'll still do that, so every household gets it. I understand that not everybody has a computer and can access an electronic monthly newsletter. I would highly recommend everybody subscribe to that. I did that today. When it hit today, about this afternoon, and it looks amazing. So also, we're going to be, another initiative, we're going to be sending out an internal newsletter to our employees, just to keep in contact with them about city business and maybe highlighting a certain individual or comments that the people in the city have made to council people about important matters in the city. So we're going to be doing that. Thank you to Travis for Social Green Thumb and Nancy, our PIO, for kind of putting all that together this last month. It was a really cool initiative that I was really looking forward to. Also, this week we're going to be celebrating the 75th anniversary of the Sunshine Communities. That's on Wednesday at 10:30 in the morning. We're going to be at Georgette's, which is one of their business establishments. Roy and Georgette Engler started Sunshine Communities 75 years ago, and Georgette's is one of their premier shops that they use. Not only their clients have work there, but they offer an awesome cup of coffee and great food. So we'll be doing a press release there at 10:30 in the morning. And then tomorrow, I was invited to do a tour of their campus. So I'm going to go out at noon, council. Anybody in council that wants to join us, you're welcome to do that. We'll be going out to the Sunshine campus tomorrow at noon and getting to know a lot more about what they do with that service. So.
You said tomorrow at noon?
Tomorrow at noon, yeah. You can get in touch with me if you want to meet up with me, or we can meet out there. So we're looking forward to that this week. So we need a motion to adjourn. Is there nothing further? Yes. Yes, go ahead. Yep.
I'm sorry. I should have brought it earlier. As part of the newsletter and our website, for anybody out here or anybody's listening, you'll notice when you sign up, you'll notice a drop-down menu. We also have a section where anybody who wants trees in their right-of-way can do that via our website now. We give you 5 choices because those are the species that we know we can get this year. When it says maple, it could be 7 or 8 different types of maple, but we're going to do our best to do that. But you can now apply to do that as long as you put your address in there. Nancy and Travis were able to get it voted just this afternoon. So we think it's a really great effort to get to start getting tree lawns planted within our community. Also, I just want to make very clear, I was talking to council this weekend, and our law director has been doing a lot of research, and to kind of give you an idea of why we do the islands and Conant and the road dieting. Back in 1977, we uncovered a study that was done, and the study was, knowing Perrysburg at the time had 3 lanes across the bridge. The bridge was 2 lanes, and uptown Maumee was essentially 2 lanes, just very wide lanes, and parking on each side. The study gave 3 options. 3 10-foot lanes, or a little bit wider than that. It gave 4 12-foot lanes, and then 4 11-foot lanes with parking. Well, what we ended up getting is we had 4 lanes, so parking off one side of the road. We eliminated left turns in order to do that on the uptown streets. And we created a parking space on the east side of the road that's about 5.5 feet wide. So if anybody who remembers that just a couple of years ago when you got your door by the idiot, you feel like your door was going to end up in the river. Well, we obviously avoided that. But I thought interesting to note is that the chamber, there was a letter from the chamber in there that asked council at that point to do a 3-lane, they didn't call it a road diet, a 3-lane cross section that put parking on both sides of the street. That isn't what happened, but I wanted to get back in 77, it was done that way. And what I thought was unusual is if we talk about building a 4-lane bridge, and we made it wide. It's not just 4 lanes, it's 4 lanes of 14 foot each lane, and why we did that, and why Perrysburg and Maumee participated that with the county and with ODOT. Well, there was a study done in 1989 about what size of bridge to build. And in that study, they had done some preliminary stuff. Remember, the bridge was in the 90s, for all those who don't remember, but back in 1986, they took traffic counts on the bridge in Conant, and it was essentially 26,500 trips a day. Well, they also proposed that the trips per day by 2010 would be 42,000 trips a day, the same study. And it also proposed that there were going to be 57,000 trips a day by 2017. And before we did the road diet, we essentially had 25,000 trips a day. So in that period of years that they had projected this huge traffic growth in Uptown Maumee, it actually dropped, which is one of the reasons we actually did the road diet. Now, I thought was particularly interesting is that many remember this, and as Matt Miles, one of our engineers, were talking about, we used to call it Dead Man's Curve. Anybody remember Salisbury Road going over 475? There was no ramps there. It simply went there, and about where Cracker Barrel is, it took a very sharp turn to the right and went all the way to Ford. That was Salisbury. Salisbury Road was from Ford, and this is all the way back before this bridge was done. After the study was done, it was still a country 2-lane road that went over the expressway but had no access to the expressway. And over the years, people failed to recognize the outlet that the expressway ramps at Dussel had on the amount of traffic and truck traffic that actually traveled through Uptown Maumee. That really was far less now, even before we did the road diet, than it was at the time they did that traffic study. So, traffic engineering, they proposed it. Nobody knew that that you have a divergent timing being built today, or that you had better clover leaves at 24, or that you actually had a full intersection at Dussel. Those obviously mitigated the amount of traffic. So we also believe that the 28 interchange will actually further reduce the amount of truck traffic traveling through Uptown, because now you've made a path for truck traffic to go around. I just thought it was interesting. I explained this to council, but I thought people in the audience might appreciate the fact that we found those studies, and it was interesting that we projected that kind of flow. And I want to give you kind of an idea of where I came from. I'm actually from Waterville originally, but I was in Jackson for 8.5 years, and MDOT was doing a study. It was doing a widening of 94, and that widening called for a significant amount of increased lane capacity on 94. And this was about 6 or 7 years ago. And some people were very angry that it wasn't being widened like they said it was going to be widened 4 years prior. MDOT simply said, the traffic is down 20,000 in each direction, and there is no need to widen 94. In some cases, they narrowed it at off ramps and so on. So it shows that we got to pay attention to the projection data and how those things are calculated in the future, and start looking at the mitigating factors to why we do things now that were projected 40 or 50 years ago that never materialized. So I thought it was interesting to know. Thank you.
Thanks for those comments, appreciate it. We'll take a motion to adjourn until February 19th. Mr. Barrow?
Thank you, Mayor. Now I move that we adjourn until our next scheduled meeting.
Mr. Fiskus?
I will second that motion.
Call the roll?
Harris.
Yes.
Kirk.
Yes.
Lineback.
Yes.
Noonan.
Yes.
Toggenberger.
Yes.
Barrow.
Yes.
Fiskus.
Yes.
Thank you. We're adjourned.